All right, so I want to do this video. I've been meaning to do this video for a while actually, and I know I'm late on this, but I want to talk about Johnny Berba and his passing or him taking his own life. I want to talk about that. Now, the reason why I want to talk about that, I'll get into that later, but he took his own life about a month ago, okay? And there's been a lot of talk on it on YouTube. There's been a lot of talk of it on YouTube, and they haven't really covered it the way that I'm going to cover it. So I'm going to give you my take, and I'm going to first of all tell you a bit about who Johnny Berba was, because some of you guys may not have any idea who's this Johnny Berba. I mean, Johnny Berba, he went by the name of Jonathan O'Halloran on YouTube, which was his real name. But earlier he was call himself Johnny Berba, I guess, right? So sorry. So that's when he was more popular on YouTube. He would call himself Johnny Berba, but more recently he would call himself Jonathan O'Halloran. Now, who was he? I guess he would describe himself as a confidence coach, whatever that means. Okay, we're going to get into that, but he would describe himself as a confidence coach. Earlier on in his, I guess you could call it career, he would describe himself, or I don't know if he would describe himself, but you could basically put him in that category of being a dating coach or PUA. I know a lot of guys don't like the word PUA, but it is what it is at the end of the day. He was part of the London day game scene. And he's not the first guy to take his own life from that scene. In fact, there was another guy called Tom Torero. These guys are reasonably well known. I've never been part of that scene and I don't care to be, but I know of these guys. And Tom Torero took his own life about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm not sure, but quite recently. So he'll be the second guy of the London day game scene to go and take his own life. And allegedly, he jumped in front of a train. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's what some guy, I mean, you can't trust what some guy on the internet says because there's no proof of it, but he was never covered by any mainstream publication, even somewhat mainstream. I don't, we're not talking about the BBC or Sky News, but he wasn't even covered by any major bloggers or, I mean, I was looking for information on how he passed, and it seems like nobody really cares to cover the story, even though he did have notoriety, a reasonable amount of notoriety at one point in YouTube. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But if you look at this guy's channel, right, he put out a community post just days before his passing, which gave you some insight on where he was in life at the time. And what he basically said was he said that I'm struggling financially right now and I need to get some money to pay for ERP therapy for my OCD. If anyone can help with any amount, I'd be grateful. So he was basically e-begging. His last call for help was to e-beg from his subscribers. And of course, it was unsuccessful. And that's why he decided, well, I'm done. I'm going to take my own life. And see, that's how desperate it can get for certain men. That's how desperate it can get. What a way to go out. You can't afford, you're broke as a joke. You can't afford to even get treatment for your OCD. So you decide to, we don't know, but he took his own life. But let's just say he jumped in front of a train. I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy way to go out, okay? But this can happen. This can happen. I mean, Johnny O'Halloran was broke. The dude was living on universal credit, okay? He was living on universal credit and he had tax issues. He had tax debt. He didn't pay his taxes to the HMRC. So he had problems. He had real problems. Now, I know some people, because I've been reading and I've been watching some of these videos, and let me tell you, these videos on Johnny, his passing, these tribute videos and people, It's just all the same shtick. They just, oh, he was a great guy and all this stuff. It's like, I don't want to hear it. And some of these guys know Johnny, but I mean, I'm not here to talk about if he was a great guy or whatever. I don't really care about that. I'm here to talk about what do we learn from this man, because this man is gone. Whether he was a great guy or not, he's gone. But there's something that can be learned from this. And I think this is what all these videos about him miss. They miss that. They don't actually tell you what you can learn from this guy's passing. There's a lot to be learned. There's a hell of a lot to be learned from this guy's passing. Because he was broke as a joke. He couldn't afford to get OCD treatment. He gave up. He gave up on life because that was his last thing. In his mind, he thought that was the last gasp. He thought that was the last thing that could help him to get that OCD treatment, right? That's what he believed in his mind, but he couldn't get the OCD treatment because he was broke. It all comes down to what I've told you guys before. I mean, Johnny Berba did not pick a career choice, a business choice, however you want to look at it. He picked a dreadful career, business, whatever, however you want to look at it, choice. Yes, he did. What he picked was dreadful. I want to be a confidence coach. What the hell is a confidence coach? Can you tell me what that is? How are you a confidence coach when you don't have confidence yourself? I mean, this guy was charging people £10,000 a year. Yeah, I saw it in his videos. He was charging people £10,000 for a year training. He was even worse than the guys that he was giving, information to and training them and helping them and guiding them and coaching them. He was even worse than them because at least those guys are still here. And I know some of his supporters will say, "Oh, he was only like that because he had bad OCD." Well, this is why you pursue something that's lucrative. Where was his savings? Where were his savings? Why he had to resort to e-begging to actually have any chance of paying for his OCD treatment? Because these guys who are involved in this coaching, I want to be a coach, I want to be a dating coach, I want to be a confidence coach, whatever that means, they're not making good money. This business is dying. That's why all the guys got out of it quick time, because it's a dying business. And the guys who want to pursue this kind of coaching business or whatever they want to call it, well, I mean, they're setting themselves up for disaster. I always tell people pursue something that's lucrative. I've been saying that for years on this channel because you don't want to get into something that's dying and then end up in a terrible financial situation. You don't want to do that, but that's exactly what Johnny did, though. That's exactly what Johnny did. Johnny had no money. And when you position yourself as a coach, you put yourself up there, oh, I'm the head honcho, I'm the coach. So he didn't feel inclined to go out there and really admit what's going on in his life until it was too late. I mean, like I said, he made that final cry, but he had already made his mind up. I mean, you're asking a dead channel. His channel was dead as well, by the way. I know the views have gone up a lot, but the views have gone up a lot because he passed away. I actually saw his channel, like, he was getting 30, 40, 50 views on his videos. Even worse than me. I mean, and that's the thing. He was getting super low views on his videos before he passed away. Now the views have gone up because people saw he passed away, so they checked out what's wrong with this guy. But that's the thing. He really was in no position to be a coach. He was in no position to be a coach. I mean, this is a man who had thoughts of taking his own life throughout his whole life. Because he does kind of give some insight. There are videos on his channel where he gives some insight into his life story. He had thoughts of ending his life. This was not the first time that he thought of ending his life. He had these thoughts already in him. He had self-hate. He had lack of confidence. He doubted himself. He was telling people about confidence, but he himself doubted himself. And I think Johnny was, to be honest with you, his whole thing was just a shtick. He was being disingenuous from the jump. You position yourself as a head honcho, okay? Are you really gonna go out there and admit to people that are paying you to coach them on confidence that you really don't have confidence, that you really have self-hate? Now, yes, he was transparent to a certain extent, but he was saying that he overcame all those issues when he never overcame them. That's why I say he was disingenuous. And I know some of you guys who like Johnny Berba, you may not like this video, but everything I'm saying makes sense if you really think about it. Put that to the side that, oh, you like Johnny Berba and he's passed away. Put that to the side. Everything I'm saying makes sense. If you overcame your issues, then why are you dead today? Because that's what he was saying. I watched some of his videos when he talked about, oh, I had addiction to escorts and all this and that. Well, that's part of the problem that you had addiction to escorts. Now, he said that was a long time ago. How do you know that was a long time ago? Well, we don't know the real reason why he passed, but he certainly was broke. We know that much. Was he seeing escorts and not telling the people out there? But he was a man of addictions. Johnny Berber was a man of addictions. I truly believe that. Much like EDP, and I think I might make a video on EDP. I think we're gonna do another. I might not, but he was a man of addictions, man. You know, he surely was. And that's part of the problem. When you're a man of addictions, when you're a man who not just uses escorts, but becomes addicted to them at any point in your life, you're susceptible to ending up broke. Absolutely. Absolutely, you're in trouble. You're not going to sit there and tell me that, oh, Johnny Berber, he was a great man. And the thing is, he turned his life to Christ. That's the funny thing. This man turned his life to Christ. Was that even genuine? Because if you're a Christian and you believe in Christianity and the Bible, why would you jump in front of a train? Or even if you didn't jump in front of a train, why would you take your own life? That's why Johnny Berber, as a man, I think he was a troubled man, and his biggest mistake was what he did. I really truly believe that. I don't know his entire life, but I truly believe that his choice to go into the field of coaching, trying to coach your way, you know, out of the position that you find yourself in, right? You're in a messed up situation, and then you decide, oh, I want to be a coach. I want to coach guys to get out of the position that they're in, even though I'm in a position that is probably worse than them. I think that was his biggest mistake. I really do, because you uplift yourself as a coach when you put yourself above others. But that's not your real position. That's not how you really feel about yourself, and that's not the real position that you're in. And we see a lot of guys doing this. It's like you're trying to fake the funk. It's not genuine. No, I don't believe Johnny Berber was genuine. Absolutely not. I don't believe he was genuine, because if he was genuine, why is he gone? Why is he not still here? I mean, what kind of man who's full of confidence? What kind of man who's a Christian? What kind of man who's overcome all these obstacles and is now, you know, doing great, as he said in one of his videos? What kind of man goes and takes his own life then? Why did he choose to take his own life? Why did he choose to do that? And what I can say quite simply and plainly is that he was not an honest person. He was never being honest about his situation. That's why you don't position yourself as a coach. You never do that. You never position yourself as a. The only people who should call themselves coaches is if they've actually got qualifications to make them a coach. You're elevating yourself above others. Was he that great of a guy? Look, I've never met him. If you were asking me, what do I think? Do I think he was a great of a guy? No, I don't. What he did was reprehensible. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like what he did was acceptable. No, what he did was reprehensible, especially if he jumped in front of a train. Especially if he jumped in front of a train, disrupting passengers while they're getting on the train. What's that for? What have they done to you? You know, maybe he didn't jump in front of a train, but even if he didn't, ending your own life, there's nothing on his channel that I've seen that justifies his behavior. There's nothing on his channel that would tell me, okay, that it's okay to do what he did, because it's not. It's not okay to do what he did. And for those of you guys who try and defend it, you're part of the problem. We need to stop guys putting themselves and elevating themselves above what they are. He was not better than the people he was trying to coach. And because he was not better, he shouldn't have been doing it. See, people who are coaches, actual real coaches, right? They have the qualifications to back themselves up. They have the track record. They're generally older. They generally got more life experience. They've generally already had a career in the field in which they are trying to coach, right? If you look at sports coaches, for example, they've earned their stripes. He claims he's earned his stripes, but everything he was saying was fake. Oh, I've overcome my difficulties. How do you know he wasn't still seeing escorts? That's why he was broke. You don't know that, but people were paying him £10,000 a year, and this is why I don't believe he was a great guy, because why are you charging £10,000 a year? Oh, and people say, oh well, Johnny helped me, Johnny helped you. I've helped people. Am I a coach now? Come on now, just because Johnny helped you and he's passed away doesn't mean you have to pretend that this guy was some kind of saint. He was far from it, you know. And he betrayed his own religion as well. I mean, he said he was a Christian. Why did he do what he did? So yeah, this was a troubled man. And let's go into the PUA a little bit, because I've heard there's some debate and some discourse about him where people are talking about like the fact that he took his own life, right? There's people talking about that, and they're saying that the PUA was a part of his demise. And there are other people that say, well, he wasn't selling PUA, or he wasn't promoting PUA or dating coach for many years before his death. Let me tell you something. The PUA absolutely had something to do with his passing. Absolutely it did. Because when you're doing PUA, you're going out there doing this day game. You're not actually learning real skills. You're not. You're not learning real skills from going out there and doing day game. It's not a real skill. The only skill is selling yourself as a ladies' man, which Johnny Berba was not even a ladies' man. He was single at the point of his death anyway. If Johnny Berba was a ladies' man, why couldn't get a chick to pay his OCD treatment? So he was even a fraud in that category. And I don't want these idiots to come, oh, you're calling a dead man a fraud, you're attacking a man. Look, if you're that kind of person who doesn't want to use logic and reasoning, I'm just gonna block you on the channel. If he was a ladies' man, he could have got a chick to pay for his OCD treatment. He was not a ladies' man. He was selling himself as all this stuff, and he wasn't none of it. You know, he wasn't none of it. Let's keep it real. He wasn't. He learned no skills doing that nonsense PUA, and that's why if you look at a lot of my shorts, because a lot of these Gen Zers are getting involved in this. I'm approaching this, and they call it Riz now. They've changed it up. It used to be called pickup artists, picking up chicks. Now they call it the Riz, right? And you look at a lot of my shorts, I put up guys doing it. And the reason why I put up guys doing it is because I want to show that how stupid it is. In fact, I put up one today. I want to show you guys how stupid it is. It is an absolute waste of complete time. You don't learn any skills. while other guys are working on their skills and making money, you're going out to the city of London, which we're going to speak about the city of London because I think that also contributed to his passing. But you got guys going out to the city of London, right? Spending that time and money to go up and pick up chicks or riz chicks as they call them. Why are you doing that for? Why are you doing that for? Oh, I want to combat. And Johnny Berba was trying to say that you're combating your social anxiety by doing that. No, I don't. That's not the way to combat social anxiety in the best way. You can go to business events and talk to random people there. You can talk to random people at work. I mean, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be around intercourse. It doesn't have to be centered around the opposite gender and centered around intercourse. It wasn't, or it doesn't have to be. But of course, these guys try to sell you that because they don't want to seem like what they are. They don't want to seem like slime balls and sleazy guys who just want to go out there and have intercourse and get laid with random chicks. They don't want to seem like that. So what they sell to you is, oh, I'm combating social anxiety. It's all a load of nonsense. We know that. We know it's all a load of nonsense. Now let's talk about the City of London because he's not the first. He's the second guy from the City of London day game scene to finish themselves off. See, I spoke about in live streams, okay? I spoke about choosing a life versus being forced, right? And I might do a part two of that. Johnny Berber was forced to be in the situation he was in the sense of he didn't have the money to get out of the toxic environment that is London. He was living on universal credit. He was living on government support, right? This man was living on government support, absolutely. He was living on government support, 100%. He was living on government support and he couldn't travel, he couldn't go to other countries, he couldn't get out of the toxic environment that is London. And absolutely, I consider London to be a toxic environment. I don't think it's a particularly nice place for men, you know? I don't think it's a particularly nice place for men at all. Um, I mean, I've showed videos of guys in London too. I've showed but that's the thing. A lot of guys need a change of environment. I don't believe staying in the same environment. I mean, he was born in London. He's been there he died at 41 years old. I forgot to mention that. He was 41 years old when he decided to take his own life. But that's the thing. If he could have gotten out of the toxic environment, I don't know why he became broke. Maybe he became broke. Part of it, he couldn't afford to live in London, but he wanted to stay there. I don't know exactly what led to his financial downfall, but we know that he died broke. He died broke as a joke. I've always told men to go out to other countries. I've always told men to expatriate, to live overseas, give yourself a fresh start. Couldn't do that because he was broke, because he chose a career that was not lucrative. I just want to say that this can happen to any one of us. I don't think that I'm above or I'm immune to such things happening to me. You know, I don't think that. I'm not arrogant enough to think that. No, I'm not above such things happening to me. I'm not. And I don't think that I am. Such things can absolutely happen to me. Yes, they can. We can get to a point where we feel like taking our own life if we don't take our life seriously while we're healthy. You know, if we don't take our life seriously, yeah, you can end up in such a position. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. You can end up in such a position. And if you think you don't end up in such a position, then you're not very intelligent, are you? I'm telling you right now, 100%, that we're not immune. I used to be thinking that I was immune. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I used to think I was immune to it. Absolutely, I used to think I was immune to it and it'll never happen to me. But as I got older, I started to realize that That can happen to anyone, really, when you think about it. It's just if you let yourself get to that state, yet you are not blame free if you choose to go to that in that direction. You're not blame free. You let yourself get to that state. It's unfortunate, but it's an unfortunate reality. And being able to travel to other countries, being able to get out of the toxic environment and be in another environment absolutely is something that every man must have on the table. Because what does it do? It buys you time. It buys you time. You got to try new things. But when you're broke like Johnny was, you're stuck in a dingy apartment somewhere in London, broke, you know, he had no access to chicks. He was not a ladies' man, as I mentioned before. He had no access to chicks, and he had no career. And at 41 years old, he basically was a nobody, and he felt like a nobody, and that's why he did what he did. Absolutely, he did what he did because he knew that in his mind there was no other option for him. He felt that way. He genuinely felt like there was no other option for him. Okay? Do I feel sorry for the man? To a certain extent, I feel like, his ego was his problem. That doesn't answer the question. I mean, I would say yes, I do have some sympathy for him, but I'm not one of them type of guys who's gonna come out here and act like he was blameless because he wasn't blameless. Oh, he had an illness. A lot of people have illnesses, bro. But it's about what you do before you get the illness. Because money matters. Money matters, and then people can sit around and say, "Oh, money don't matter." Well, what happens if you get sick and you can't afford the treatment? What are you gonna do? You're gonna off yourself like Johnny Berba? What are you gonna do? That's the question. If he had the money to pay for his OCD treatment, he very well may still be here today. If he had the money to go overseas, another thing, he could be still here today. I don't think it's healthy to live in the same, London for that long. I don't think it's healthy, especially if you're not doing well. I don't believe Johnny's ever done well. I don't. I just don't believe he's ever done well. Um, if you guys know him personally and have a different take, I'd like to hear it. But I feel like I'm the only person who really talks about or has talked about Johnny and really given you a lesson in what to learn from his experience. I think I'm the only one. Maybe people are scared, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared to tell people the truth about what this man did. I don't need to be scared. I don't need to be scared at all. Because at the end of the day, man, we can, like I said, anybody or any one of us can end up like this. So trying to play the nice guy and trying to say, hey, it doesn't matter. Johnny just did what he could do. Johnny tried his best. No, he didn't try his best. He pursued an absolutely absurd career choice, which ultimately led to his demise. You sound real, man. Here, truth and mass. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you aren't already, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you're informed every time I upload a new video.